There's a delay, just in case speechy. There's a delay, just speechy. That's the second echo.
Right there.
What time is Sounds like it's in your 5 seconds. Oh, I also can't do it.
Yeah.
I see our clock sometimes.
Well,
Paul changed the battery last week.
Think we're ready, right? Beautiful. Good evening, everyone. I will call the regular town council meeting of Monday, September 22nd to order at 5 p.m. And we have an agenda in front of us. Are there any additions or deletions?
None at this time, your worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Would someone then care to move the agenda? Councilor Ford? Okay. All those in favor? Great, that was carried. We have the minutes of the September 8th regular council meeting. Has anybody noticed any edits to those minutes that are necessary?
I'll move that council adopt the minutes for the September 8th, 2025 regular council meeting as presented.
Thank you.
If I had to have it.
Ms. Parsons?
I was just gonna note that some of the numbering got corrected on the online version versus the printed version, but as presented is fine.
It still works. Good. Okay. All those in favor of that motion? Great, it was carried. Public hearings, we don't have any. However, delegations, we have Alberta Transportation Economic Corridors. John and Patrick LeVay are coming forth. So if you just want to come to the table there and press the microphone button so it turns red and then you're live and well. There you go.
There you go. Okay. So do you want us to just get started here?
Yes. please.
Okay, maybe we'll do a quick introduction in case some that don't know us, but so I'm Derek Young, I'm the regional director for Alberta Transportation Economic Corridors here in Peace River.
Yeah, sure. I'm Patrick Levin, the bridge manager for the Peace region.
So we wanted to, well, again, thanks for the invite to having us here to chat. It's nice to be able to give an update right to you guys in terms of how things are going. Our focus, I think, is going to be on the bridge, but there are some other things that I'd like to maybe take the time, if we've got a few minutes, to just kind of give you an idea of what's happening kind of outside of that. So maybe what I'll do is I'll hand it over to Patrick. He's our bridge manager and has been working on this file for quite some time now. So
Yeah, so I've been involved on this, it's echoey. But I've been involved in this bridge for 2 years now. So I got involved at the end of 2023. But currently, we're in the process of obtaining services from another qualified contractor. A lot of different factors affecting our procurement timelines. Obviously, we'd like to have somebody on site by now, clearly. It's been nearly a year that it's been vacant, but still acting as a construction zone. So I know that's a bit of an issue for a lot of people and an inconvenience for sure. But with the previous contract ending in the way that it did, it's been a bit of a process in revalidating some of the work, conducting evaluations on site, reporting those findings, and then coming up with solutions for those findings for the last bit. Things like difficulties in validating reporting and things like that have led to, again, re-investigations on site. So like I said, we're in the process of procuring another contractor. We expect that towards the end of October, early November, we should be in a position to tender the work, the revised scope. And then timeline wise, what we're looking at is another 2 years of rehabilitation on that bridge. It's I'm not the only one working on this thing. There's a huge team. Our technical branch is highly involved. This is by far one of the more complex bridge rehabilitations that we've done ourselves as a department. But unfortunately, we're still looking at a 2-year duration once we have a contractor on site. To touch on a bit of the scope that we're looking at, everybody's heard of the hangers, those 90 pipes that are suspended up below the arch connecting the tie beam to the rib. They're the main structural elements carrying the bridge, and every single one of those needs to be swapped out in a manner that doesn't jeopardize the structure, obviously. Other items, we need to replace the pavement on the bridge. We need to replace deck joints. There are a multitude of structural repairs as well throughout the entire floor system and elsewhere on the bridge that need to be conducted before safely reopening. So there's a ton of effort still left to go. And like I said, we're hopeful that by the end of the month, we'll be in the procurement phase essentially, at which point we'll be tendering for about a 25 to 30 day period and then awarding a contract. So we expect somebody on site towards the end of the year. There's for sure work that can be completed over the winter. Obviously that's subject to their schedule, but we expect that it's a 2-year duration either way until the end of 2027.
Do you want us to ask questions of the bridge before we go on to the next part, or would you prefer to save it to the end?
Might as well stay on the bridge if we're on.
Yeah. Are you kind of finished?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I was gonna add, as part of this tender as well, is that we're including some of the scope that, well, not scope, but some of the outfall issues that the town had brought forth to us. 5 or 6 locations with some significant erosion issues from the 20 projects, so those will be addressed as part of this tender. And also just recently, that what was originally as part of the twinning contract, the 90th Street paving, as you guys likely already know, that's recently been completed as well, but that's.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, good. Hopefully we can get bridges in that state as well, so, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what I heard here is that you're getting another contractor, and then hopefully tendering will go out early November, couple months.
About a month process to close that tender, and then there's gonna be an evaluation period. Because given the complexities with the project, there's qualifications that everybody has to hit, so in order to get to the evaluation, right? So.
Well, it sounds like a very engineering challenge that.
Yes,
Good and bad, depending which side of that coin you're on, but I know that's one of the questions counselors get asked quite often, is what about the bridge? So we always say, well, Alberta Transportation has said.
yes,
Peel off, whatever. It's good to hear that things are seeming to move along after a little pause, it seemed. Because anytime anybody's observed walking on the bridge or something, everybody thinks something's happening now, so,
right.
yeah. It's gonna be a miracle when it gets to fruition. But counselors, do you have any bridge questions?
So, just to clarify, you had mentioned, and everyone's kind of biggest peeve every time they cross the town is that they can only go 50 on the 3-lane bridge, when we used to be able to go 80 on the death trap of a 2-lane bridge that we used to be able to have. And it's not that it's not a construction site, but it's still a work site, so you do kind of, you've got, the guy with the clipboard and the white hard hat taking all the measurements.
The governing factor of that speed zone is the crossover on that west end.
Right,
So that is the issue. It's right at the upper limits.
okay.
Being able to be at 50. So at this point in time, I know Derek, we've chatted on the potential of potentially altering things, but at this time, it's gonna stay at 50.
All right, thank you.
We're we understand that that's,
Yeah.
you know, and if that's a low hanging fruit that we can kind of increase the speed and relieve a bit of pressure, we're gonna do that. We haven't found a way that's, you know, we can do it safely without having to, I don't wanna reverse it. I don't wanna raise the speed and then lower it again. I think that that would be really disruptive. I guess I'd be open to some comments from.
Well, having seen some larger vehicles navigate that transition,
Yeah.
things get pretty tippy.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, it does make sense. It's just, it's a pain,
yeah.
but, you know, living people that are inconvenienced are our preference.
Any other counselors, questions? Okay, well, makes sense, and once again, good luck to you. Do you have any costs, or is that kind of still out there?
Costs, well, current estimates are in magnitude of 20 million.
Yeah.
To complete.
The reality is that, you know, it is an engineering exercise, but it's also kind of a legal exercise in terms of transitioning from one contract to the other and making sure that we're not doing something that we shouldn't be doing. And so it's, you know, and you can imagine on that side of the contract, there's lots of interest from the contractor. They're not going, oh, you know what, whatever, you guys just do what you gotta do. So it's a complex legal matter as well as a complex engineering kind of exercise as well too. So it combines on itself, unfortunately.
Well, hope 20 million does it,
Great, yeah.
so thank you. And so you had more transportation?
Yeah, so I wanted to, I guess, kind of highlight some of the stuff that we recently done, 743 through town. We overlaid, well, it started south of town towards Mary Rain. That project went well. We partnered both with County of Northern Sunrise County and Town of Peace River on that project and delivered some additional work outside of the contract. And so, you know, really, I think that went well. I think that went smooth from our perspective anyway. I think you're still gonna see some activities downtown. There's some deficiencies that Canelson needs to address, and so we're working with those. None of them are, you know, super disruptive, but you will see still some activities kind of going on or around the new pavement for a few more weeks yet. But for all intents and purposes, it's done and went well. Coming in the future, so 744 Weberville Road is on the books for an overlay, so that'll be right from Highway 2 to 986. An overlay there. We're gonna be looking at that intersection too, because I think, well, I travel that way sometimes and people end up on the wrong side of center, and there's some really goofy things that happen at that intersection right at Highway 2. So there may be some work happening there to kind of address that concern as well. But and then the other project that's close by, it's outside of town, but close by, is basically from the Roma Junction up to Highway 2 Junction. That's gonna be overlaid next year as well. So a couple of projects that are kind of near the town. And there's, you know, anytime we're with paving opportunities near communities, there's an opportunity for partnerships and collaboration and different things. And, you know, even if it's a matter of securing some asphalt for others, you know, that's something that we can work with our municipal partners to kind of lighten that load for you guys if you have some projects going on. I know we've had some conversations with Patrick already, so he's aware of that, but you know, happy to work with our municipal partners where we can, for sure. We'll also try and address a few bumps and things along the way, like on the east side of the new bridge. It's kind of the dip is starting to get bad there, so we'll make sure that gets corrected either through the bridge, the arch bridge, or the paving project, kind of keep things smooth through
So
there.
when you have to do something like that, like I remember one time last year, there was something going on and all of a sudden the bridge was down to one lane at a major time. Who do you kind of notify or talk with or
Yeah, so generally we try and make sure that the municipality, you know, knows ahead of time for sure. And sometimes it's contractor scheduling and availability and it just gets missed, but we do generally try. And I know for here, for the stuff through town, we try to avoid some of the bigger events it's a disruption for the contractor too. So they're happy to know about those days too. And there's really not a good way to do the contract or the work without choosing less disruption, but you know, definitely partner where we can. And I find that, you know, the municipalities have a really good access to the ratepayers, right? People look to your social media, you have good communication channels, and so that often benefits us. And so if we can, and sometimes they show up, hey, we're going to do the work today, and you're like, okay. And so, you know, there's a balance there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, in addition to the typical notifications that get sent out.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I just wanna jump in on that one, cause I'm typically the one that would receive them from the town side, so. Certainly anything like, bigger project construction related, we get a little bit of notice and we've got, like, Director Young said. We've got a lot of, leeway to get that out in a pretty big platform comparatively in the community. So we try and share that information. Every once in a while, like, their highway contractor closed a section earlier this year. And brought it down to like alternating traffic. Sometimes we don't get notification of that because they decide to do it at the last minute. We just kind of adapt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, the other project that we're working on, and it's in the planning stages, so it's kind of well into the future, so, but the town of Peace River will be involved in it. We've just recently, or we're in the process of securing a consultant to do some planning on the West Hill, so it's really kind of access management type planning. What's the intersection by the Canadian Tire gonna look like? What's the Canadian, the next one at 744? So it'll start at the CN rail bridge and go all the way to kind of the last set of signal lights going westbound there. And so we'll be looking at that corridor to see what's needed, what needs to happen. And the town of Peace River will be a part of our technical review committee. So Mr. Fisher will be, or his designate will be on that committee to provide us the technical feedback from the town side. Keep in mind, it is planning, right? So it's not necessarily going to result in a project right away where we're going to be doing, construction on Highway 2 right away, but it's something that it's a part of our process to identify what needs to happen in the future. So that'll be interesting, and there's lots of excitement on the West Hill, of course, with the development that's occurring there, and that'll all kind of play into it as well, for sure.
How about the east-west corridor, from Fort Mac over this way?
Yes. So right now, we're working with a group called United Northern Development Limited. And that's 3 nations, so it's Big Stone, Loon River, and PTFN. So those 3 nations are leading a kind of a preliminary design exercise to validate the line that was done in 2012. And so they're kind of on the last stages of that. And we're expecting to get a report from UNDLP likely late this year, early next year, that'll kind of identify, there's a southern alignment and a northern alignment. And then kind of the latest thing that we're looking at is using LOCs, which are industry roads, logging roads, and those kinds of things. There's a number of them already in place. And so if there's an opportunity for us to potentially take over a portion of it or all of those to kind of expedite that construction, we're exploring that now. We're not so certain that it'll result in the fast tracking. The reality is that our estimates are between 5 and 7 years just to do the environmental assessment on that alignment. So construction isn't going to be for another, 7 to 9 years, probably. You might see some stuff happening at the outsides, but and then the other piece that it depends on is, tech or transportation economic corridors is hoping that it would be a project that the federal government puts into their new legislation. I'm not sure that that's exactly a good fit or a fit for the federal government, but we've requested that, whether it's, so that could fast track some of the environmental stuff, but at this point, we're still kind of targeting five years for the environmental and those regulatory approvals. But it's about 218 kilometers of road, maybe a little bit longer if we go a different route. Right from basic, it'll take off from Peerless Lake on the existing 686 and go and connect kind of on the northern end of Fort McMurray, maybe even further north into the Fort McKay area.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, that's been along on the books, like it's been, talked about for lots of years, for sure. So, yeah.
And is there the idea that it was to be kind of an energy corridor, like not only road traffic, but, I don't know, telecommunications or whatever else, power lines or something?
Yeah, that's something that's been talked about for sure is, well, the question is do we develop a utility corridor right now, or is it something that the utility companies develop at a later date? And whether there's an advantage to the province adding it to it makes our path, our imprint quite a bit bigger, and so it may bog down the environmental side, and so that's something that we'll have to investigate, but it is definitely been talked about. tagging on pipelines and things, adjacent to it for sure.
Councillors?
Even rail line has been talked about. now. Yeah,
Rail line would be, that'd be a miracle, actually.
yeah.
It would be. Any questions, councillors?
On this time.
Well, thank you. This has been very informative and glad to have you and the partnership with various happenings around the curbs on the main street and whatever happens with the water system over on the West Hill side will be good for us too, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, we definitely don't, we know you guys take heat for the bridge and that's not our intention. And, you know, we'll try and keep you guys up to date as much as we can. So you have that information that you can share, right? It feels, rather than an I don't know, it's this is what we've heard, you know, kind of thing. But, yeah, we're
We're free
working.
to refer up to us as well.
Yeah, Patrick's been working hard on it for sure. And our team has been, you know, really pushing on it. It's just it's a slow process, unfortunately.
Well, I think it's understood with the way our hills are around here and everything else, so, and we have a unique location and we like it, so.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
two double lane bridge or two bridges would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be great for sure.
So, thank you very much again, and look forward to hearing from you in the future as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for having us.
Good luck
Thank
for the project.
Right.
Okay, next presentation, we're into grants to organizations, and I see some members of the Peace River Art Club might be coming forth to fill us in on details and so on. And again, you just turn on the microphone so it's red and introduce yourselves, and we're waiting to hear.
Thank you for giving Peace River Art Club the opportunity to present today. And I'd like to introduce Dana Lalaberty, who's the vice president, and I'm Diane Ireland, the president. As the Art Hub is moving along into the 3 years, and we are quite excited about our progress. And so I'm going to hand over to Dana to talk about the grant that we had presented.
I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight. This is a continuation. We're on this journey and we identify areas where we need some assistance. And the area that we have found that we need the most assistance with is communications. And so through your generosity, we were able to, and other grants, hire a part-time communications coordinator. It's only 4 hours a week, but it has helped us tremendously. It helps us with our social media, it helps us with our website. She's done some amazing things. We work closely, we're part of Mighty Peace Tourism, Peace River Chamber of Commerce. Through Mighty Peace Tourism, we have become part of ATIS. But we've just become part of it, right? And so we know we have all these great ideas and all these other things that we want to do as far as communications. But it's time and energy, of course, right? And so that's what this application is about, is to continue on that journey, helping us with the communications end of things. The communications committee works with every committee, whether it's programs, whether it's events, whether it's building, whatever. For example, this weekend, we did stage 2 of our mural project. Byron was there, got a chance to see some of the murals. And so our artists that were trained by Dave Thomas are now training youth and young adults. So we had from 11-year-olds to 25-year-olds painting, and they're painting murals for their schools, and one for the Art Hub and one for the boxing club and different places. But the communications coordinator was able to come for a couple hours, take really good quality pictures, because mine aren't good enough, and they really aren't. And she's putting together videos, and starting that, but she has very limited time for that. So one of the areas that we really know we need work on is our photograph and video repository. We've got lots in there. We need to make videos and promotional videos. So we could hand over little video clips to you, little short ones that are 10, 20 seconds. as well as longer ones, and you would be able to insert them into your video and promotions for tourism. You know, regarding, say, the revitalization of downtown Peace River, or, you know, an MD could do that, or Mighty Peace Tourism, or the Chamber, or whoever. And so that's our, we've done a couple of little ones and passed them on, but we would like to really expand that piece, because we know that social media is the world right now. We also have talked about all kinds of ideas. We've done several brochures, for example, for the communications committee, promoting the art club, promoting downtown Peace River, that kind of thing. We need to do a mural one now, because we've done all the murals on the art hub, and we've created a mural walk. So we had a class come by, say, this summer, and Marianne took them around to all the murals around town. And so instead of just going for an ice cream, whatever, they went downtown through all the murals and into the art hub. And so, again, it's bringing people into that downtown area again, right? Which is, of course, what we want to do. And so we've been very involved with, you know, River Days and working closely with the brewery, and we have home roots, and we have local music events, and the brewery works close with us, really trying to get involved with people on our street especially. But all that takes lots of work with the communications and the promotions, and to do a good job. And every week I still have people say, I've never heard of Yard Hub. I've never been there. Where is it? Yes, even after, we think that we're really putting out there, but we know there's an age group, probably 25 to 40, that for some reason we're missing. And I don't know where we go to get them, but we need to work on that, and that's sort of one of our goals as well. So that's what this is about, is keeping working on all that and promoting all our events and our activities that we've got going on.
Well, thank you. I've seen the one mural that you can see from the, I guess, 101st Street side.
Yeah.
I really like that vibrant color.
That's Corby Yablonsky, yeah. You need to go around the back. There's 3 back there. They're beautiful. And there's gonna be 1 inside.
Well, a compliment to you as well. I was at a meeting on Friday with some people from different parts of the province. One of our things was, well, what is your favorite building or something like that in Peace River? And one of the, they were actually presenters, said, well, we were here last year for a meeting and I like that art hub. So I thought, well, that's pretty nice. Yeah. So this is for communication in kind of several forms and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Counselors, any questions? Yeah. Counselor DeVar?
Who was the visionary that came up with the idea of the art hub?
Well, it was basically, pretty much the existing board, they had an idea probably before COVID time, that, the art club needed a home. And in the search of looking for a home, come up with an idea and start searching for a building and how to, what it would look like. When we did our search in regards to a building, of course, we found the school division's office. And they were open enough to say, okay, we'll have a look at it and go from there. At that point, the vision was, it all come together as a vision as what it was going to look like at the beginning, but it has expanded, like it blossomed to the point that our walls are bursting from everything that's happening, and a lot of the creativity has come from not only the board, but community members that have come part of the organization, and people have taken courses. We started out a few years ago, if our membership was like 35 members. And we did have 2 shows a year at the library. And so we have constantly, through the time we opened the doors, our membership is over 200 plus.
It's over 250.
Yeah, so, in all the development, there's creativity all the time. There's what type of event that we'll do, what is our main fundraiser, which is our gala. And the art gala is, our third one this year is October 17th, and I invite everyone to come and enjoy themselves. That was probably the biggest eye opener for us as, our first gala. Not realizing what we were going to, what it be look like, would it be involved, so we all come together, many members helping, all volunteer. This is totally all volunteer efforts, and we had 400 people walk through our gala, which was amazing. And one of the other areas, of course, the art gala, the art galleries, is another surprise in many ways, is that we did not know how many artists we have in our region. We're not just Peace River artists, but we're the whole region of artists. And it's amazing what's coming through and in the galleries. The artisan part of it is where the crafters, when we looked at the beginnings of now how do we make money and keep going, is a gift shop. That gift shop has revolved immensely in different things that have come through. And it is basically one of our good money makers is our gift shop. And that, again, communication is what we really need to promote the gift shop, promote the art, the artists.
And it's all the little success stories. One of the success stories for the gift shop this year is that I've been in contact with Correctional Institute for 3 years, trying to get some of the artists in that community, you know, displaying their work, because there's so many talented artists there, and I know there is. And we have now got a group that are selling their wares and their art in the gift shop to raise money to pay for their exams so they can take their high school exams.
Wow.
And to me, that's a huge thing, because that's exactly the kind of thing we want to see happening, right? And, you know, and what's really interesting is people come forward and have got all kinds of ideas. They've got ideas for us, and they're good ideas, right? People want to see lots of things happening there.
That's one question. You said you have 250 members. Is that 250 contributors? Like artists and artisans of different types, or is that you buy memberships? Like, can anybody buy a membership?
They're mostly artists, children who come, or families that come. There are, I'd say there's a handful, you know, maybe 10 or 20 that buy memberships just because they want to support, but they volunteer, right? So they might be a tour guide when we're open, or they might volunteer at an event for us, that kind of thing. But they're not necessarily active artists, but they like the idea of the art hub.
One of the other things that has this last year or so that we've been involved with the high schools in regards to the arts programs. And we had one young lady that has come and painted a mural inside art hub, inside one of the rooms. And that was part of the getting her credits. And so she got credits for doing some artwork.
But the success story there was, this was a student that was failing every subject. That was very non-social, non-verbal, wouldn't look you in the eye. She would, by the time she had been hanging around us for the last, say, 8 months, she taught a class, a children's class for us. She's talking, she volunteered at River Days, and she ran Battle of the Brushes. She's passing all her classes. Sometimes it's just, that's all you need, right? Yeah. So those are the kind of stories we're trying to gather, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think the word is is spreading. with what communication you have right now as well, as to, what a vibrant place it is and a good place, to visit or go in and do something, or tell your friends to go and look as well.
Come on Mondays at 7 to 9 to come do art. It's free. Drop in and there are people doing every kind of thing you can
We'd
imagine.
love to be there tonight. So thank you very much. And what happens with these is they go back to admin, and then in another meeting, we should be deciding whatever the conclusions are for the monies. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we also have another presenter, and the Peace River Municipal Library and Art Gallery. And I think you heard the spiel about the microphone and so on.
Give it a try.
We still have.
Yeah, Trinity Gang, I think, maybe, there you go, yeah, you're good.
I, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Sarah Lawrence, and I'm here on behalf of the Peace River Municipal Library. We're applying for the community grant to support an open house to help promote our Festival of Trees, which is our annual fundraising silent auction, as well as local week-long public community events. The funds would go towards live music and refreshments to help us welcome more people into the library and showcase the programs and services that we offer. Last year, our open house was attended by approximately 150 people, and our week-long silent auction raised over $3,200 for the library. We're really proud of the impact the Festival of Trees has in bringing our community together while supporting vital library services. With your support, we hope to make this year's event even more welcoming and successful. So thank you for considering our application and your continued support for the Peace River Municipal Library.
Thank you. I know that your Festival of Trees was, it's always interesting, the artistic part of the trees as such as well. And I know last year you had, was it 4-H'ers as well?
Yes, the local 4-H club has supported us with donations for the past 2 years.
No, very nice snowman. There's a use. Counselors, questions of Ms. Lawrence? Okay, so you're asking for $500. Basically, the Festival of Trees starts November 17th through
That's
November 17th for a week. Kind of.
Yep, that's correct. The 17th and 22nd, I'm asking for the town of Peace River to just help support the open house on the 17th.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, thank you, and we'll be getting back in touch.
Thank you.
Okay, then, another grants to organizations, we had Miserable Miles, and it doesn't look like they were able to present tonight. So they were asking for $5,000 for help with their obstacle race, which was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, which seemed to be a pretty sold out event. So that will also go into this terms applications, I guess.
Can I ask a question here?
Mm-hmm.
Do we not have a condition that, I know we used to, that if the event has taken place, you don't qualify? I know we used to have that.
To fix this in the new council chambers. I don't believe we had a stipulation that said absolutely no. It is really up to council whether they'll entertain any retroactive situations. It'll be your choice. I will address that if I've misrepresented the policy, I will address that in the RFD at the next meeting.
I know it used to be in the policy.
Yeah. And I think we,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Next one, we have another grants organization, Northern Lights Speed Skating Club. And they're not here tonight either, but they're asking for $956.40 for ice and room rental on October 18th, 2025. And I'm reading through their materials, they're having a meet and also some educational opportunity for some of their skaters who want to go onwards to more competitive events. Okay, so those are the 4 grants to organizations that we have. And now we're into bylaw hearings. So bylaw number 2178, the land use bylaw. Mr. Fisher is going to talk us through some of this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I think this is like the 8th time you've seen this year, maybe, that's a joke. So we've got, in front of you bylaw number 2178, kind of looking for second and third reading. We had a request for direction, at the GMP this month, where we had walked through a number of pieces of feedback that we've received that hadn't been received by administration, during our previous consultation periods. And a couple of little cleanup items. Well, so we kind of modified the cover page. Updated the tables of content, with the exception of there's one 6.11 where we couldn't get the formatting to work and we're gonna blame it on Microsoft. We are removing the repeal section of 1.3 as it's already covered in the bylaw wording. We've fixed a typographical error on the RV definition. We've revised some clauses from shoulds to shall as per the direction received during GP. Section 6.11, we skipped word. 7.16, we've added some language to allow for more securities that were missed in the original drafting of the bylaw. 8.1.23G, we've expanded the temporary storage container duration from 6 months to 12 months as directed by council. We've removed section 8.3.2 as it's better addressed through public health regulations and their permitting processes. 8.12.3 and 8.12.4 are better covered in our traffic and streets bylaw. They pertain to vehicles parking in the street. We've revised clause 8.16.2 to make the parking of RV vehicles on site less stringent, unless it's creating an issue with municipal operations or congestion on the streets with the residents. And we removed a definition for the dwelling manufactured home. Sorry, we removed a diagram. We'll include it online or with our explanatory materials. It's still in progress, I think. So we've had our public hearing. We've got some changes as a result of that. We're looking for second and third reading and ideally tonight. Just a reminder, if you weren't at the public hearing, I don't believe you're allowed to vote tonight. And otherwise, that leaves us with 3 people, maybe allowed to vote. Yeah, 4, not 4. Okay.
We need 4 no matter whatever. Really up to. Just a question, when you mentioned that there, page 193, some information will be given in some information and guiding documents. Those are public documents that are just available someplace?
There will be, yeah.
Okay.
Miss Modi, before she went on leave, was working on some figures to just give examples of what we would be looking for as administration for applications. Just like, hey, can you show us this kind of information? These are some examples of what that would look like. It doesn't necessarily need to be a full engineering package for everything. And so she was trying to put together some examples and explanatory materials so that it makes it a little bit easier for someone who doesn't know all of the processes to navigate it. Yeah.
Okay, so councilors, any questions, discussion at this point in time? If not, would someone like to put forth a motion for second reading? So the councilors that can vote are councilors Good, Shannon, Carr, and myself. that what your record is or not?
I have Ford as well. It was just
Myself and Cal.
Deputy Mayor Boychuk and Councillor Scow.
So Councillor Ford as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so would someone like to put forth a motion for second reading as amended? Councillor Good?
I'll move the council give second reading to bylaw 2178 land use bylaw as amended.
Thank you. Any further discussion, questions? Everybody's clear? All those in favor? Great, it is carried. Would someone like to move along?
Move that council give third reading to bylaw number 2178, the land use bylaw.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Great. Thank you, Mr. Fisher and your staff. This has been a 7 or 8 year long process, I believe. And I think the document is quite clear, at least in my opinion, with the charts and so on. So hopefully everyone has been able to, or who wished to, has been able to look at it. And we've had several comments, which was good to see. So thank you. And it goes in force as soon as it's signed or when? Yeah. Okay. So next up, we have unfinished business. We don't have any. Current business, Peace River Library Board appointments. Ms. Bell, Director Bell.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are a number of elements to this particular report before you this evening, all pertaining to the library and the library board. The library board would like to have the reappointment of 2 existing members. There is an ability to make this occur through the Library Act, does allow renewal of current members, though the library bylaw is silent on this topic. So we referred back to the actual act to bring forward the ability of council to reappoint existing board members for renewal. Specifically, Jennifer Willocks and Diane Lavoie are expiring on September 25th and are requesting reappointment for an additional 3-year term. Please note there is a slight error within their draft minutes, but the library board will address that particular error in their minutes. In addition, the library has received a new application. They do have an available seat. They are actually 1 position shy of having a complete board. So very close to having full membership. Jason Schofield has put his application forward and the board has reviewed his application and recommends to council his appointment. And the third element is they've had a resignation of an existing member. She completed her term as of May 23rd and is not looking for reappointment. She has since completed her term. So there are 3 separate proposed motions for your consideration.
Thank you. So can we make the appointments all in 1 motion or is it preferred to make them in 2?
We prefer 3 separate motions on the 3 separate components, just to be slightly more complicated.
Okay, someone want to do one of those
Or clear.
motions?
Sure, I'll move the council appoint Jason Schofield to Town of Peace River Library Board for a 3-year term.
Any discussion? Everybody's clear on the motion? All those in favor? Okay, another motion, Councillor Carr.
Move that council appoints Jen Willocks to the Town of Peace River Municipal Library Board for a 3-year term.
Okay, do you want to add, can we add Diane LaVoie to that one as well? I think it was because it was 2 different motions or something around it.
3 different.
Yeah, and there's a third for the acceptance of the resignation. And just a point of clarification, the reappointment.
Oh, I apologize. Okay, yes.
Just clarifying, thank you.
Okay, yeah, we could change that and Diane will to my motion, please. Would you like me to read it again?
Oh, sure.
The council, I'd like to move that council reappoint Jen Willits and Diane Lavoy to the Town of Peace River Municipal Library Board for a term of 3 years.
Okay, thank you. Everybody's clear on the motion? All those in favor? Great, thank you. And perhaps somebody else would like to do another one, Councilor Ford?
Thank you, Your Worship. I put a motion on the floor that council acknowledges the completion of Priscilla Lalonde's term from the Town of Peace River Library Board effective May 23rd, 2025 with thanks.
Thank you. Any discussion? Everybody's aware of the motion. All those in favor? Okay, thank you, and thank you to those public members who are volunteering at the library. There we go. Next up, we have Mr. Mugford, write-offs of uncollectible receivables.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. First item I have before you this evening is a request from administration to write off a number of items that were deemed to be uncollectible. The last write-off of uncollectible accounts is brought before council February 26, 2024. So as part of our year-end audit process and in accordance with best practice, administration has compiled the attached list of receivables, which are recommended to be written off the town books. The list includes the amount, customer number, type of receivable, and additional information or justification for the write-down. Finance manager has thoroughly reviewed the list and determined the amount should be cleared from the receivable subledger. All items have been recorded as bad debt in 2024 or earlier, so the expense associated with this write-off has already been incurred. This is the administrative practice of just clearing the receivables off of our books. So again, at the time that they were deemed unlikely to recover, that's when they incurred the expense, which is in alignment with generally accepted accounting principles. I'll point out that the number on the RFD is actually slightly different than that of the listing. We'd initially prepared a listing and then wrote the RFD and then subsequently review dropped a couple of items. So the listing amount and the amount for council's motions is for $44,481.33. So options before council this evening is for council to approve the write-off in the amount of $44,481.33 of uncollectible receivables as detailed in the attached list for write-off. The advantages of this are it's in accordance with best accounting practice, and it'll substantially clean up our receivable subledger. There's no disadvantages associated with that. With this option, as mentioned, the expense has already been incurred, and any subsequent recovery funds owed will reverse the write-down if we happen to recover any of these amounts in the future. The financial implications are the elimination of the receivable and corresponding allowance for doubtful accounts. So again, you're eliminating a debit and a credit, so there's no income statement impact. Option 2 would be to decline. We have to approve the write-off in the amount of $44,481.33. There's no advantages to that. The disadvantages are it leaves those balances on our subledger, and there's no change to that receivable. So the recommendation is that council approve the write-off in the amount of $44,481.33 of uncollectible receivables as detailed in the list for write-off attached here too and forming part of these minutes. Thank you. I'll take any questions.
So how many in total were there? Not the total amount, just, are we looking at a list of 180 or something like that, or what are we looking at?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know, we don't have an exact
Okay.
total. I'll also note that the last item on this listing is a bunch of really small amounts that we just combined into one line, that $185 and 1 cent. So really, this is a substantial cleanup of our sub ledger.
Well, that sounds like a good thing to do. Counselors, any questions on this?
Yeah.
Counselor Carr?
How does, I don't understand the Meals on Wheels one, but I saw there was some written off on that. Is it the people there's, like, do the recipients pay a portion of it and they just didn't, this is what it is?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Someone like to move us along?
Chair will move council approve the write-off in the amount of $44,481.33 of uncollectible receivables as detailed in the list for write-off attached here to and forming part of the minutes.
Thank you. Any further discussion, questions? Okay, everybody's clear on what the motion means? All those in favor? Great, it is carried. Thank you, Mr. Mugford, and now you're on to the 2026-29 operating plan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So it issues consideration of the 3-year operating plan for approval. Background, this is section 283 -.1 of the Municipal Government Act requires that municipalities prepare a written plan of its anticipated financial operations over a period of at least the next 3 financial years and anticipated capital property additions over a period of at least the next 5 years. Plans can be longer than 3 years, and as part of the 2026 budget process, administration has built out operating figures until 2029. So there are several assumptions built into this plan that I'll highlight. The first is that the municipal requisition increases are based on anticipated inflationary factors, so I use 3%. Again, we won't really know what that number is until we get much further into the process, but for planning purposes, we use 3. We also use the rates which are in line with the utility rate model. So as this council is aware, the model calls for rather steep utility increases over the next 5-year period. So those assumptions are built into this, but future councils may decide to proceed with that pace or choose a different alternative. We have no material changes to our service levels. So this plan basically assumes status quo, no additional services, no reduction in services in any meaningful way. So many of the expenses in this plan are based on our 2026 budgeted figures without any inflationary scaling. So the bias towards that, historically, inflation has been a thing. We haven't had a period of deflation for a long time in this country. And so in all likelihood, some of those expenses will inflate over time, which will increase the cost, which overall decreases your surplus. For wages, which is a significant amount of our operating expenses, 2026 includes 2.6% increase for hall staff, which is in line with what our collective agreement rate is for that period, and it's in line with the motion that council passed for non-unionized employees for next year. And then we used a 1% increase for 2027 through 2029. Again, at this point, we won't be starting bargaining with the union until likely the latter part of next year. So we don't really have a sense, so we just use 1% as a baseline figure. Amortization. So our amortization expense, which is included in this operating plan, and long-term debt repayments, I guess, is in the same camp. So both of those are based on our 2025 balances. So in both instances, as we pay off debt and as we amortize our assets, each of those numbers are slowly declining as the year goes forward. So effectively, we're not assuming that amortization expense is going to be the same, and we're not assuming that we're going to be issuing new debt, which would then result in increased interest expense. So both of those things, the effect of them in this plan creates a more rosy picture than may actually be the case if we buy more capital assets, which we probably will, and if we issue debt, which we might. Lastly, the one-time operating expenditures. So we have some items that for an operating budget, we only do like once. So we do have those included in our 2026 budget, not entirely, because we haven't finalized the budget, it hasn't gone to council yet. And it likely won't be finalized until the new year, given that there's an election. So those are included in 2026. We do not have as exhaustive a detail of those one-time items built out into subsequent years, which again, in effect, makes the overall plan appear rosier than it actually will be from a surplus perspective. So again, cumulative result of all these assumptions is that expenses are understated in future years. But it is the best information that we have at this time. I want to highlight that council's approval of this plan does not constitute passing the annual budget, and it cannot be used in its place. This is strictly a planning document. Administration will be bringing forth an interim operating budget for approval for 2026. And we'll be looking for the new council to pass the full 2026 budget in early 2026. Administration intends to bring a 2027 through 2030 operating plan to council in the spring, with many of the known variances corrected at that time and additional detail built into the latter years. This will also be an opportunity to discuss service levels and if there are things the council would like administration to include for those future years. So the options before council this evening are to approve the 26 through 29 operating plan. Advantages are this complies with section 231 or 283.1 of the Municipal Government Act. There's no disadvantages or financial implications. Option 2 would be to decline to approve the operating plan. There's no advantages to that, but council could ask for further detail or amendments to this plan prior to approval. And if we do not pass this plan before the end of the year, then we're not in compliance with the MGA. The recommendation is that council approve the 2026 through 29 operating plan as presented and attached here to your forming part of these minutes. Thank you. I'll take any questions.
Councillor Scarabee?
Just one number kind of jumped out at me in line 211 under expenses, the RCMP for 2028 is like over double. At 5 million. The others are 2.2, 2.3, 2.4.
So are the RCMP expecting,
That's what I was wondering, if there's some big, thing kind of on the horizon that we need to put a 20% tax increase for 1 year. Okay, cool.
I will have to check that figure. It could be something erroneous that was in there.
Sure.
But I'll need to.
I understand this is just the idea that I could not ignore that one.
Yeah, it's, again, I'm not at my computer here, but I can likely get an answer on that pretty quickly and tell you whether or not that was just an erroneous item or whether there was something driving that.
councillors, any other questions?
Where was that? I think.
Under 10, under
Oh,
expenses line 211.
Page 370,
Yeah, that's probably me. I'm sorry.
Just,
So updated and probably forgot to erase
Sure.
because I got the new multi-year plan. And so I updated and probably forgot to release.
and that was kind of mine, like, cause we've had, you know, they're getting new equipment
No,
things,
no,
we've had, you
no.
know, they're renegotiating contract.
I
things.
think I just forgot to delete a line.
And just so council's aware of our process, just as a reminder, our budgeting process, so basically we open up each year for any person that has control over that budget to be able to do inputs.
Sure.
So at the point where we're at for 2026 is we just on, I guess, Friday soft closed the budget for inputters. So we're now at that point where I've started my review, the directors have started their reviews. So there may be things slipped in here that will be caught and will be reviewed, and the 2026 number is not our final 2026 budget because we haven't even, we're really just in the kind of that early stages of preparing that.
Question?
councillor Good?
Yeah, based on the comment we just heard and the comments we just heard, is there any benefit to waiting to get clarity on those numbers? Is there any detriment to passing it as a planning document now?
I don't think there's any detriment. Again, we could pass it as amended and I could reduce that number to the 2027 figure if we're. See your motor shaking your head.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Is that because it's not
That's
affecting in
okay.
any way
It's a
the trip?
Exactly. This is not in any way binding. This is a planning document. It's being put out there for transparency. And again, it's with all of those assumptions that I put in place. There's a lot of volatility in terms of what the final budget will be. We don't know what the future is. We don't know what future councils will prioritize, et cetera, et cetera.
But my understanding is there's a requirement to have this passed at a certain time.
Correct. The government wants us looking ahead.
And it should be there, and that now is that certain time. Effectively.
Every year, we're supposed to pass this along with the 5-year capital plan. So the
Okay.
5-year capital plan will be brought as we get, likely, well, it'll be brought for the new council as they're in the process of approving 2026's capital budget. We'll bring the 5-year capital plan for that as well.
Yeah, I don't have any problem doing it if it's a planning, as you said, it's a planning document, not a nailed in stone document.
Of course.
Thank you.
Any further questions? So bottom line on the 4 years that are in here, there's two, I guess, or 3 deficit years and maybe 1 surplus years if this was to pan out with these numbers, I guess.
So assuming that our CMP number is overstated, the trend will be that by 2028, you'd be running a surplus, and that's inclusive of your amortization expense. So just to point out that this net surplus or deficit before capital revenue, as we spend money on capital projects, we are recognizing a chunk of grant revenue, and so that ultimately feeds into this as well. But within these budgets, we have starting at around $7 million of amortization expense, and then that's reducing each year. So again, with increases, the overall financial picture of the town is improving over the course of this plan.
Good. Any other questions? Okay. Would someone like to move us along on this topic? Councilor Good.
I'll move the council approve the 2026-29 operating plans presented and attached here to forming part of these minutes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? It is carried. Thank you, Mr. Mugford. And now you're gonna tell us about capital update in 2025.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. So the intent of this report is to provide council with a detailed update on the status of the 2025 capital projects. The attached document contains project descriptions, cumulative approved capital budget, prior year spend, current year spend, total spend, and status and comments. So summary is intended to support transparency, ensure accountability, and assist council in monitoring the progress of capital investments as the year advances. So we did a couple months ago bring a report that was qualitative. It didn't have our spend figures on it, so we thought it would be beneficial for council to have. This is our spend as of August 31st. And again, there's comments next to each project. And I guess if there's any specific questions on projects, I can defer to the director that oversees those projects. I'll also point out that there are some, again, because we're taking the snapshot in the middle of the year, there's likely some work that was being done at that time that we didn't have invoices for. They weren't fully reflected in the system. And so, again, if anything, some of our current year spend on some of these projects is understated, which again which will be corrected for in the future as we get those invoices and get them in the system. So I guess I'll open it to council if there's any questions on any specific projects.
Councilors? So the capital budget was 13.9 million, and so spending 343,000 came from previous years, 1 million or so in current, and bringing the total to a spend of 1,360,000, so about 10% has been spent.
So the capital budget number that is inclusive of balances that were previously approved and then carried forward. And yeah, you can see we wanted to show the prior year spend and the current year spend, so you have a scope of like what percentage of the overall approval is done on each of these jobs. There's some projects that are really straightforward, where it's just like, we're buying a piece of equipment this year, one and done, that type of thing. Where it gets more complicated is where you have projects where there's budgets that are approved over multiple years, and then, you know, which year does the spend in? At the end of the day, what council really cares about is, are you going over, right? Even if it's approved over a 3-year period, if 500,000 is what's approved, where are you relative to that, and how close are you to completion? And if administration identifies that we are gonna be going over, then we need to come back to you and ask for more funds.
So councilors, any discussion, question? Well, a lot of work in progress is what I'm seeing from this list for sure. And trail maintenance, it looks like that one's complete, so. Community services will be happy to check it off, I guess. So, thank you, and perhaps someone would be able to move this for information. Councillor Shannon?
Move the council accept the 2025 capital projects update for information.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Great, it is carried.
Thank you.
Next up, and thank you, Mr. Mugford. Next up, we have reports. First one, council attendance report. Mine from August is there. It was a less busy month, but interesting for a lot of reasons. Especially interesting was the meeting with the commanding officer K Division, Trevor Dulu, and Staff Sergeant Blair and others, just talking about RCMP and introducing the commanding officer to the Peace River area since he was newly appointed. Any questions for me on that one? Okay, next up we have Mr. Scammahorn with June, July, and August all on my paper here. Anything you want to highlight, Mr. Scammahorn?
I spent more time out of town than in town for most of the summer, so that's what that looks like.
Good. Okay, that's all for those kind of reports. Next up, we have the June 12th Peace Regional Energy Committee meeting minutes. Myself and Councillor Shannon. This one. And basically, of note from the vice chair is that the provincial government is working on a nuclear framework, but it's a long process and taking time. Any questions on that one? No sets of minutes? Okay, next up is the Peace River Aboriginal Interagency Committee meeting minutes of June 17th. And this one, powwow is being postponed due to lack of hotels and things like that. Any questions on those? Okay, next up is the Mighty Peace Watershed September 25th newsletter. And basically it details the watershed projects and how far along they've gotten. Wetlands was a big topic. Any questions on those? Okay, then we have the Peace Library Board minutes of September 11th. Mr. Wojciech isn't here. Question, has the town signed the master agreement? Is it going to be signed?
Oh, I don't have a motion for them to sign it. I don't think we did. I will have to bring that up next week. I don't think we got a motion for council, to authorize us to execute.
So how will that work? Next, meeting is GMP.
No, October sixth is a council meeting,
Is it?
we were concerned in case we need to make some decisions.
Okay, okay, good. I think they wanted that. Okay, next then, perhaps someone would move the council accept, where are we here? Anyway, someone's gonna make a motion to accept these for information.
I'll move the council accept reports 9-1 to 9-5 for information.
There we go. Thank you. All those in favor? Great, it is carried. We have information package of September fifth and September twelfth. September fifth one includes a AHS memo welcoming Dr. Iwata, who is a family physician to the Peace River Hospital and Clinic. This is the first such memo of this sort that I remember receiving from AHS, so maybe they're changing something up there. Okay, and then another was the invitation to Energy Alberta's public engagement sessions, which are happening this week. Was unfortunate that the Peace River one at Chatsworth Nova tonight is the same night as our council meeting. However, there's another tomorrow night at Weaverville and another one on Wednesday at Grimshaw and Thursday at Manning. I understand they all follow the same format, but Energy Alberta is presenting and leading the engagement session. So anyone wants to attend, they're at 4:30 on those days. And other than that, that's what I noticed. Anyone else? Okay, then perhaps someone would move us along on this item. Counselor Good,
I'll move the council accept item 10-1 for information.
thank you. All those in favor? Great, it is carried. Notices the motion,
I have none of it.
comments from the public. We don't have public here. Okay, so let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back into closed session and we will not be live after this. Thank you.
Just give me a minute here to end the lines.